Here is a serious question for you, fellas. Would you rather be driving a Toyota Camry or a Bentley? Let's find out. I have borrowed this beautiful Bentley Arnage from my friend Goodfella Bill at Prime One Motorsports. And Goodfella Bill is a hardcore car guy, and he has probably forgotten more about classic and exotic cars than I will ever know. Goodfella Bill has a very unique and interesting car collection. I will link his information down below, so check him out when you get a chance. Now let's talk briefly about the history of Bentley Arnage because it is pretty interesting. If you remember the late 90s, there was a lot of drama involving Bentley, Rolls-Royce, BMW, and Volkswagen. Vickers, the entity that used to own Rolls-Royce and Bentley, decided to sell in 1997. And the logical successor, the logical purchaser would have been BMW. And the reason why is because BMW used to supply engines and a lot of other parts to Bentley and Rolls-Royce. BMW naturally made a bid. They placed a bid of 340 million pounds. So here comes Volkswagen, and after they made billions of dollars selling their garbage cars to people, they decided to get into a luxury car business. So they outbid BMW by almost 100 million pounds. So VW acquires Bentley and Rolls-Royce, the rights to the name, etc., etc., and this starts a war, a huge war between BMW and Volkswagen. So what BMW does is they decide to threaten Volkswagen and stop producing engines for Bentleys. So Volkswagen knows that they're not going to have enough time to develop, design, produce, and implement a new engine inside of the Bentley and Rolls-Royce. So eventually, after fighting back and forth, they decided that BMW gets Rolls-Royce and walks away with that, and VW keeps Bentley. So what's interesting about the early Bentley Arnage models is the fact that they use BMW engines still. This is still a proper Bentley that was built by Bentley, and before VW got their hands on the brand and started cheapening it up. The Arnage was produced from 1999 until 2009, but production started in 1998. What's interesting about the 1999 model years is the fact that they still use BMW engines. What's under the hood is BMW's 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8 that produces 350 horsepower and 420 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to a ZF 5-speed automatic transmission. Now, starting with model year 2000, VW decided to use Bentley Turbo R engines, which was the 6.75-liter pushrod V8. Now, that engine made more horsepower and more torque, but the unfortunate side effect of that is the fact that the ZF 5-speed transmission could not handle that much torque. So VW was forced to use the 4-speed automatic transmission from General Motors. So this creates kind of an anomaly, because the earlier Bentley Arnage models, the 99 model years and the cars that were produced in 1998, are actually more modern than the later ones with the 6.75-liter engines. The 99 models are lighter, they're more fuel efficient, they handle better, and they brake better. So what it's like to drive a Bentley Arnage. I absolutely love the way this car rides, and I love this Bentley because this is before VW got involved and they started, part sharing and inserting their own bits and cheapening them up, and I absolutely hate that. This Bentley is still built by Bentley, and it's a proper one, and it looks like one, and it feels like one, and it smells like one, and it rides like one. When you step inside this Bentley's interior, you feel like you just walked into an old school leather shop inside of a forest. This Bentley is 21 years old, and the leather still smells absolutely wonderful. This is not a car freshener, this is not some spray. The leather is absolutely amazing in this car, and it goes to show you the quality that Bentley used to stand for back in the day. I have driven several modern Continentals, and they're not like this. This car is from a different era, it's from a different time, and it feels like a Bentley should feel. I absolutely love the instrument cluster and the gauges in this car. Nothing speaks Bentley like these gauges do. Every single one of them has the Bentley logo. The cream color dials are absolutely gorgeous. The thin needles are very elegant. I am a huge watch guy, despite the fact that I'm wearing a cheap G-Shock. And what these dials remind me of are old, vintage Breitlings with cream dials, and it's so beautiful. It is actually dangerous for me to drive this car because I keep staring at these dials and gauges, and I keep taking my eyes off the road because they're so beautiful and so mesmerizing. Despite the fact that this car is the size of a house and the hood goes for miles and miles and miles, it handles very, very well. The ride is smooth, soft, but at the same time, there's confidence in this suspension. You can take corners, you can take exit ramps at high rate of speed, and this car behaves very, very well. It's very balanced, and it's an absolute pleasure to drive. The most beautiful thing about this interior, at least for me, is the fact that this car does not have infotainment systems, and the stereo is actually covered by a little door so you can hide it from view, and I absolutely love that because it just cleans out the dash so much, and it just looks absolutely beautiful. Now, as you can see, the stereo is Alpine, and you might think that this is an aftermarket unit that somebody added on, but that's not the case. They actually came like that from the factory. Believe it or not, they used Alpine radio in these cars, and the later models actually had the flip-up radios, which I know it's kind of bizarre, but that's how they were. Here are a couple of things that I don't like about this car. Number one is that the climate control unit is lifted straight out of a BMW. And this is the only thing inside of this car that brings down this interior. And what they did is they slapped some kind of wood veneer on top of it to kind of blend it in with the rest of the interior, but it doesn't quite match, and it stands out, and it just looks cheap and crappy. Now, the other thing that I find absolutely ridiculous about this car is the shifter. And not the way the shifter looks, but the way it functions. For you to get this car out of park, there's no button. You have to lift the shifter and go into reverse, and then you can go into neutral and drive. But the problem is that for you to go down several gears, there's nothing to press, there's nothing to lift. It just goes down freely. So it is very easy to knock this gear lever down to low. And the problem is that this car is not modern enough, it's not smart enough to know that you might be doing 80 miles an hour and you're shifting into lower gear, it would actually shift. So I have no idea why they did this. It is absolutely ridiculous. And if you look at the newer Bentley Arnage models, they actually upgraded the shifter. It has a VW inspired shifter, so they solved that problem later on, but in the early ones, it is absolutely mind-boggling why they did that. This car cost $203,000 in 1999. 21 years ago, you could have purchased a 5-bedroom house for $203,000 in South Florida. Now, this being a Bentley, they depreciate, and they depreciate quite steeply. Today, you can pick one up between $17,000 to $25,000, depending on the condition, mileage, and options. Now, what would you rather drive? Would you rather drive a Bentley or a Camry and Accord that's maybe 1 or 2 years old? Because they're about the same price. Now, I understand what you're going to say. It's like, well, it's a Bentley, it's a British car, the maintenance is expensive, they're not reliable, etc., etc., etc. However, you have to keep in mind that these older Bentleys are not as bad as some of the modern cars. Number one, there's not a lot of electronics in this car. There's no infotainment systems, there's not a lot of computers, and they're relatively simple. The second thing is that I like the ones with the BMW engines because the parts are cheaper and the parts are more plentiful and easier to find. The other thing that it's very interesting is that there's a lot more room under the hood of the ones with the BMW engines versus the ones with the 6.75 liter because that engine is very, very big. So these cars are a little bit easier to work on. And you know, these cars are just like any other vehicle out there. If you maintain it, if you take care of it, it will last and it will run. And if you abuse it, it will fall apart. And look at this car. It's 21 years old and the interior held up very, very nicely. It's in excellent condition. And you can't really say this about the newer Continental GTs because once VW got involved, you can clearly see how they cheapened up the cars. And the interiors in the newer Bentleys do not hold up as well as they do in these older ones. Well, fellas, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this quick video. And if you did, please subscribe, like, share, so you can become friends of ours. Thanks. Bye.